Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And Saige is having a sensory issue with something right now. She'll be stepping off screen for just a moment.
Woo!
Hey, everyone. How are you? Good morning. It's been a little bit since we have seen you. I hope all of you BBs are doing well. Here's something. I want to tell you all about a social interaction that I had.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's not a social interaction.
I know, it's unfortunate, but I had a social interaction. And I was walking Dagger on my block, and there was a couple at one of the restaurants, and they were like, hey, will you take our picture?
Okay.
And I said, nah, you don't really want a picture.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Why would you say that?
Well,
what do you mean? Oh, hold on. What?
I don't. It was what I was feeling in the moment, and I don't know why I said it.
Anthony.
But it was true in my heart. And they said the same thing you said. They said, what do you mean? And I was like, it's not really. I was like, I'm sorry. It's not very like picturesque out here, and you don't want a picture together.
What the fuck? Why do you keep making it worse?
The guy literally was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't like, and she goes, why would you say that?
Anthony.
And Dagger's there.
And Dagger's like, what the fuck, dude?
Dagger's doing the thing where he's like hitting her paw because he wants to be her friend.
Her leg?
Yeah.
She doesn't have paws.
He's with his paw hitting her leg because he wants to be her friend, and he can smell that they have chicken. And like, and she's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by that?
Actually, what?
And she was like, no, why wouldn't we want a picture together?
Yeah, because that was a weird thing to say.
It was a really weird thing to say.
That had Sue Sylvester energy.
And I said,
that had no, only one person can tell you who you are.
I said,
no, me.
I said, no, I'm sorry. I just meant like this is not a very like picturesque setting, and you didn't look like you were having a very good time.
Anthony, you had to just leave at that point. Why did you keep talking to them?
The guy like stands up.
Yeah.
Dagger is still going for the chicken. He thinks this man wants to be his friend.
He said, yes, good. My father has made us new friends. Look at them talking to us. He stands to attention.
The guy looks like he's about to hit me.
Which is an intense response.
It's a very intense response until I tell you that the woman started crying.
What the fuck?
The woman started crying. Dagger's like, hey, give me chicken. Dude's about to hit me. And she screams out, Ryan, stop. He's right.
This isn't real.
No, it's not real. I didn't do anything this week. I don't leave my home. Every day we have to start the show with something interesting, and I don't have anything interesting to say. And this is why I don't go outside, is because my brain tells me this is the kind of thing that'll happen if I go outside. How was your week? I took you for a ride. I took you for a fucking ride.
I was lied to, everyone. Not just you. I was also lied to.
I took y'all for a fucking ride. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, everyone. Alex isn't here today.
It's Halloween. We got all kinds of tricks and treats.
Apparently. News to me. Look at that. The chat's about to cry. Look what you've done.
The chat's about to cry at a level 4.
Yeah, look what you've done. A level 4 hype train.
A level 4 cry
crying.
train. I always have a level 4 cry train.
Anyways, listen, Alex isn't here today, so we're running the tech ourselves, which I remember how to do. The times in between when Alex is here and isn't here is no problem. What could be different?
There's no difference.
Look, is our setup totally different?
I don't
It's
even,
only our second show with it? Yeah.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember who you're talking about, and I'm not heartbroken that he didn't show up this morning. And I'm not heartbroken that he didn't text me to remind me that he wasn't going to be there so I wouldn't be sad.
Right, because I do want to be clear with you all. We knew Alex was not going to be here today.
I need to be reminded so I didn't come in and immediately feel sad, is what I would say if I cared.
Right.
Which I don't.
Of course not. No, absolutely not. I rearranged my whole studio. The first thing Anthony said when he came in today was, "Oh, feng shui," which is a little bit of code for, "Ooh, you good?"
Yeah, feng
Ooh,
shui.
things are moving around.
I said, "Happy Home Academy."
Yeah.
Is what I said.
I moved everything around. And now it's probably better.
And by it, she means her life.
Yes. Things.
Not the studio.
No, things.
Everything
Yeah.
is better now.
Things are probably better now, like this. But it was a bold choice because every time you unplug a computer entirely and plug it back in, anybody who streams or even just works on their computer, I feel like, would know this. It's never quite right.
No.
The first time you go to use it
ever again. Ever again. Here's the thing about a laptop.
Yeah.
They tell you it goes with you,
Yeah.
and it's convenient because it goes with you. If you unplug a laptop once,
It's never the same.
it's never the same.
It's never the same. But when you plug a PC
It's like if
back
a kid
in,
gets hit in the head.
it's never the same.
It's never the same.
never be
You
the
can
same
always
again.
tell.
Can never be the same again.
You're just like, damn, was that kid a little smarter before?
Been there. Been there. When I was a child, my mother loves to tell the story of me falling off the side of a slide instead of going down it.
Yeah.
I just
The complicated
a
way.
little heavy,
Yeah.
tipped off the side of it head first,
Yeah.
down onto ground, whatever that ground was. And it's my mother's like favorite story to tell. I was somewhere between an infant and a toddler. I was like under
Like
2
on the
years
slide?
old. Yeah, I was like
This
under.
was last week, but she was in
Yeah,
between an infant and a toddler
one on
the
each
slide.
side. I kept saying, "Why do you have an infant on a slide?" But I was under 2 years old, and it's her favorite story to tell. And to me, I'm going, "Hey, doesn't that sound like maybe you weren't doing your job?
Right.
Doesn't that sound like you weren't supposed to let the infant hit their head off the side of a slide?"
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little young to be on a slide, but she tells it because she's like, "We always knew that she was going to be difficult because we took her to the doctor and I yelled at the doctor, 'Do not touch me. I do not like you.' And I wouldn't let them look at my head." So we don't know really what happened that day because I wouldn't let the doctor touch me because I was going, "Don't touch me. I don't like you."
Somewhere in between an infant and a toddler, but here's how we know it's Saige Ryan. She could clearly enunciate, "Don't touch me, I do not like you."
Yeah.
It was the only thing she could clearly say at that point.
It was my first phrase.
It was her first, she basically came out of the womb.
Yeah.
"Don't touch me, I do not like you."
Yeah.
They were going to do the slap on her, and she was like, "Excuse me." Have I ever had you
No. What is this?
feel how that's flat?
Oh, that is a little,
feel-
oh wow, that is flat.
Right?
Whoa, that's like
Yeah, right?
what is that?
Right?
Why is it like that?
I was trying to turn on a television, apparently, as a toddler. And the television, because it was like the mid 80s, was on a cart. It was a big CRT on a cart.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, there was also an alarm clock on top of the television.
Okay.
And I had to climb up
Had to.
onto the cart to turn on the TV because I knew the button was up there.
Yeah.
And as I climbed up, I pulled the entire cart down on myself. This is not a small television. This was like the living room television.
Yeah. Televisions were very heavy.
Yeah, this is,
You're the oldest man on the internet.
I am the oldest man on the internet, and it was like, I want to say like a 30-inch TV. Like it was a big TV.
And they were just made of rocks, right?
Yeah, they was essentially TVs. We didn't know what to make them of out of the time, so they were just forged in pewter. You know, like the little wizards.
Yeah.
You know,
Like the vampires in Twilight.
yeah, they're forged out of pewter, and the whole cart came down. But apparently, according to my mother, who once again
Yeah, right. Why do we tell these stories? This seems like
could I? No, my mother was great, but she clearly had like went to get something or like
Sure.
went to get a snack or something like that. But apparently,
Cool flex.
apparently I fell over and did, according to her, she heard the thing happen because I went, what? I did like a little, what? As it like felt like a Luigi,
Yeah.
like a little baby Ouija. I was like, "Wah." And as the cart was falling, she calls it a very impressive Indiana Jones style roll, which was not on purpose. She said she could tell it was just momentum.
Well, how could it be? You were a toddler.
Well, you could tell people very clearly what your boundaries were. Why couldn't I do an Indiana Jones roll?
I do feel like those things are different.
Sure. But you know what they say is like men can only speak through physicality.
Sure.
So
Guess that's what they say.
So I did a roll, avoided the TV, but an alarm clock fell right on my head.
I want to let you all know that if I hadn't just felt the freaky flat spot on Anthony's head, I would think he was once again lying to us. You have broken our trust early in the show, so now we are going to question everything you say for the rest of it.
What do you want from me, BBs? It's the social contract that I got to begin the show with an entertaining story.
No one said that.
It's the implicit social contract of a television show. And here we are on basic cable television.
That's us. Channel 3.
Here we are on the internet equivalent of public access. And we have to start off with, we got to have a strong start. That's what it said in that leaked MrBeast production
Yeah.
outline, is we got to start strong.
Yeah. It said, let the boys do whatever they want. Start strong.
Yeah.
Eat grass.
Eat grass. Get 20 million Orbeez.
Yeah. Bathe in Feastables.
Bathe in the Feastables of
know
your
what?
ancestors.
We didn't actually put this in here, but there has been a lot of Feastables talk. Have you been seeing this stuff?
I have been seeing a little bit on Feastables, but a lot on Lunchly.
Oh, sorry. Yes, on Lunchly.
By the way, welcome to the show. We're about to launch into a little Lunchly, but we want you to know, bless you, we're also going to be talking about a little bit of MCU news. We're going to be talking about some TV news. We've got some oh boy,
Roblox news.
We got some Roblox news.
Way too rich people news. We got lots of stuff to get to, so stick around if
It's
you're
a
watching.
real classic banger.
Yeah. If you're here on Twitch, hi, good morning. We love you. If you're here later on YouTube, give that video a like to let us know you love us back.
And subscribe, cowards. Subscribe.
Love you.
You like us. Just subscribe.
We know you do.
We know you do.
You wouldn't have sat through that intro.
That's weird. It's weird that you would sit through that much and then not subscribe. Weird.
All right, so there's been a lot of stuff on Feastables this week because Rosanna Pansino,
who has taken it as her responsibility
yeah,
to single-handedly dismantle Jonathan Beasterton.
which I want to start with. I love that for her.
I do.
This is a complicated thing. I don't think she's doing anything wrong here, but I do have questions. I have questions.
I'm concerned.
I have questions. I have concerns.
I'm concerned for her. I'm concerned for her. Number one, she's taking on the most popular creator on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm concerned for, of course, her inbox, her mental well-being, her
Yeah.
emotional well-being, all that stuff. But I'm also concerned about the horrible effect that happens when you make yourself into somebody whose entire persona is about the dismantling of somebody or something else.
Yep.
I am worried about public perception turning against Rosanna Pansino, who is a lovely, extremely vanilla content creator.
Yes.
Just the sweetest little vanilla content creator the world has ever seen.
See, Vanilla's funny because she bakes.
She does bake. So yeah, it's Alonzo in the live studio audience is saying you got to be careful because you can become a crusader.
Yeah.
And then when you become a crusader, you automatically position yourself as being a person who is against something,
Right.
as opposed to being somebody who is creating something.
Which is a very interesting kind of like juxtaposition with her content because she is known, like when Anthony says vanilla, for making very like wholesome cooking and baking content. If you were not familiar with her beforehand, she's one of the kind of old wave of YouTube. And I think that she had, I feel comfortable saying, peaked on YouTube many years ago, right? She was like the biggest freaking thing.
She was the first person to go like, hey, what if you bake on YouTube? And then what if you bake something that's themed in a fun way?
Everything was themed, lots of cool nerdy stuff. Huge on YouTube in like the first golden age wave of YouTube, okay? But she still does that, which is very interesting.
And she has a strong audience and a strong fan base. She gets decent numbers still.
Oh yeah.
Not like top 10 YouTube creators or anything like that, but she has made a very lovely and comfortable position for herself as like the Great British Bake Off of YouTube, sort of.
Yeah, if you scroll back a little bit to about a year ago, which is before the MrBeast controversy, she was averaging between about 100 and 300,000 views with occasional things like popping off. She is averaging much higher now since the MrBeast controversy. She's averaging somewhere around 500,000 views, I'd say. But it depends, and there's like a strong up and down depending on the content she's making, because she's still making nerdy baking content. I'm going to show you really quick.
Yeah.
But you can see every few videos is specifically about MrBeast.
Now, there's a reason for this. If you are not caught up, Rosanna was on a couple of the MrBeast competition things, and she publicly came out about the mistreatment of contestants and women and employees. She talked about sort of the dishonesty that was going on behind the scenes with things like prizes and who was winning them. She was one of the first people to come out and talk about this before all of the MrBeast news like broke.
So you can see like going back, it's a bunch of very like wholesome, content. And then it starts at one point with the news about MrBeast games is disturbing. MrBeast games keep getting worse. I am being silenced. Beast games. These Beast games injuries are appalling. Okay. MrBeast is gross. Beast games. The real MrBeast leaked document. And then you've got 3 videos in the middle. Walmart versus Vons versus Sprout baking challenge. I tested the funniest kitchen gadgets. I bought mini nostalgia toys that actually worse. MrBeast is dangerous. I bought vintage products from my childhood. I tried making homemade gourmet snacks. MrBeast is a criminal. Leaked video.
Yeah.
Recreating my first Nerdy Nummies cakes. I tried Lunchly. It was moldy. So this is where we are now.
Yeah.
We're at Lunchly. It was moldy now.
So here's what's up. You're watching, like you're looking at that spread of content, and then you wonder about, and this is something that she is talking about something that is true and something that is being ignored, not by the average person. You and I and other people that are keeping up with stuff understand that MrBeast is gross. However, what she's trying to do is use her platform to make sure that more powerful people who are ignoring this get to a point where they cannot ignore it, right? YouTube makes a lot of money off of MrBeast.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube makes an insane amount of money off of MrBeast. There are a lot of people that have brand deals and other huge deals with MrBeast. And she wants to be sure that there's enough of a groundswell with this that it gets attention from the money people. The problem is looking at that content as somebody who's not one of the money people, as just your average person, you begin to go, well, is she making so many MrBeast videos because they do better for her and they're getting new eyes and a younger audience on her content? That's a very cynical and negative way to look at it, but it's also, in a lot of people's minds, a very practical way to look at it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. like you do what works.
Yeah.
Right? Particularly if you believe in it.
Right.
And so there is an issue there of like, particularly because as Flannel Fries points out in the live studio audience, Rose never had an opinion in her life. Like publicly on her channel, Rose got an opinion on which brand of shortening you should buy.
Yeah.
And like who makes the coolest like cookie cutters.
Right. And like because this was a firsthand experience, when she spoke out about it, it did make sense, right? So like when I was in the MrBeast games and this was my experience, you're like, okay, well, that makes sense. That isn't out of nowhere. Now it is, she's the person making a video, just sitting down with like other creators every time there is a new MrBeast controversy that is completely unrelated to her experience with it.
Yeah. And I want you all to know, that's not the way that we don't feel like she is being opportunistic here. At least I don't. I can't speak for you. I think there might be a little bit it might be creeping in a little bit, even without her knowing, but I don't think it's her main goal.
Here's my take. I think she is, and I think it's okay.
That's fair too.
That's my take on it, is there's no way you don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't know that, like, hey, this is publicity. I'm really doubling down on being the MrBeast, like, takedown.
Yeah.
And, like, hey, somebody's got to do it. You want it to be you. You've experienced firsthand that this dude fucking sucks. And, like, that's fine. She's been doing YouTube for more than 15 years,
Yeah.
I'm sure, at this point. So, like, if she's like, hey, I've been baking on YouTube for 15 fucking years. This is what I've decided matters. And it's good for my channel, and I don't care that now I am that on my channel.
I do enjoy a classic YouTuber, an old school YouTuber grows into responsible adult arc. I do enjoy that.
There's no way you've been on YouTube and been a creator in the industry that long and you don't know you're doing it.
No.
There's no fucking way. If she was a brand new YouTuber, okay, but there's no way that she doesn't see the opportunity this is, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's sort of like...
Go for it.
I think of it as like when Leah Remini was like, what if we just took down Scientology? And that's what I became famous for. And I know it'll be huge, and that's okay, because somebody needs to take down Scientology, right? Like, when documentaries come out about things, it's not always because it's a thing that needs to be talked about in a documentary. Like, sometimes it is just the reason why. But a lot of times it's like, this is a thing that needs to be spoken about in a documentary, and we know it will make a lot of money.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. So her most recent video, I Tried Lunchly, It Was Moldy, has over 1 million views, which is way higher than her average views, obviously. That is a fuck ton of money, especially when you are a creator like Rosanna Pansino, who probably has a very high CPM.
Yeah.
So because she is a family-friendly content creator, she probably has very good ad revenue. And let me tell you, everybody, we are in the last quarter of the year. You are about to see a lot of YouTubers make a lot of choices to get their biggest videos because monetization money gets better at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Advertisers pay more to be on videos as we get closer to the holidays. So we are officially in Q4 CPM.
All companies have
Make that money.
All companies have to spend the rest of their operating budgets so they don't show too large of a profit. And
YouTube pays in response to that.
And it's, of course, the biggest shopping season of the year.
Yeah.
Also, semi-related, hey, if you see me posting on Threads a lot, just go ahead and like those right now.
On Threads, huh?
Yeah. It's Threads money time for me. And so if you see me all of a sudden posting on Threads where I was not very active, just go ahead and you could like that or reshare it or whatever. It's cool.
Do it.
It's cool. She's not opportunistic, maybe, but I am.
Everybody is.
I am, baby.
Okay, so Rosanna Pansino opened up some Lunchleys and found in the cheese mold.
Yes. In multiple packages. She went to multiple places.
They only found it in one.
In this video. She went to other places. She talked about it on Threads or on Twitter, whichever one. She was like, it was not the only one where I found mold.
Interesting. I know other people had found mold.
Yeah.
And she even, she was very fair in the video. She compares them with an honest, nutritional breakdown between the two. She's comparing Lunchables and Lunchly side by side. She gives, credit where credit is due on Lunchly and also criticizes where criticism is due.
Yeah.
She talks about it, and they basically come out even in the wash, other than the mold. So, all of the other things are okay, whatever. She opened up multiple. It wasn't mold in all of them.
Yeah.
And other people have reported this being a problem.
Also, but here's my counterpoint, Saige. Penicillin, that's mold. So what? Think about that.
Think about that.
Think about that.
Feed your kids mold.
What if you don't want your kid to have dangerous infections? Maybe mold?
Maybe a little mold in
Maybe
their
that's
cheese.
the good mold. Did anybody
Maybe that'll
ask?
do it.
Did anybody ask KSI if it's the good mold? We at least have to do our due diligence and ask KSI
Yeah.
if the mold that's in the Lunchly is the good mold.
The best source is probably KSI.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine Logan Paul is too busy interviewing our next president.
Hey, everybody. We shout out D'Angelo Wallace here a lot, but D'Angelo Wallace has done a couple of great videos recently about
On a tear.
On a tear. Posting like every day.
A daily D'Angelo.
Personally keeping me like sane and entertained. I love D'Angelo Wallace. He recently posted a video about like creators flop era to Trump supporter pipeline, and then same with celebrities. Yeah. Fantastic.
Like your heralds who have their purple crayons. Your Shazams and Chucks and whatnot.
Did you hear about The Undertaker?
Yes.
We were all bummed about The Undertaker.
Do you know, but here's the thing. The moment The Undertaker was like, oh, only Trump can fix the blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, man, get back in your coffin. This sucks. And then, like the shining light he has always been, Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley came
Mankind came out and was like, hey, everyone eat shit. This guy sucks. Think about the future and think about real people.
Yeah.
Mick motherfucking Foley.
He said, that guy's a douche.
But yeah, there's this, it's bad people. And as they lose relevance, they're like, how do I get this relevance? It's the real version of what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
There's a desperation for relevance, and then there is the sort of righteous crusader who gets relevance because it's a relevant thing.
And it's playing in twofold because one, it is like, this will shock people. People will talk about me. I need attention. And you have a entire side of the political spectrum that is based on playing on your fears and like promising you the world. It is so like Emperor's new clothes, like all of this, like, we will give you everything you want.
Yes.
You just have to be a piece of shit all the time.
The lunch is full of penicillin.
Right. It's like, don't you feel like this is unfair to you? Don't you think this? Don't you think that?
Yeah.
And it plays into it. So when people are already feeling that way, it just fucking sneaks right in while they're being weird little failure losers.
Yeah. So Rosanna showed that this has mold.
That's it.
It shows that it has mold. She's been getting like, man, looking at the replies on her tweets and stuff.
Oh yeah.
The MrBeast youths, and I'm sure also the MrBeast bots.
Yeah.
If you think a production operation that size is not running a bot farm as part of their social these days,
oh yeah,
come on, grow up, read a book.
Look,
hey, read a book.
Read a book. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Don't buy Lunchly.
Don't buy Lunchly.
We did bring up
just a dude sitting in like a Maverick sweatshirt, eating a Lunchly and drinking a Prime, watching our show right now, going, what?
Huh? With a handful of mold.
A handful of cheese mold. Like, oh no.
Oh no.
I eat them every day, bro.
It's every day. We did bring up politics.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Should I start a timer or something?
No, it's okay. We're going to get this really
cool?
quick. We're going to be cool. We got a couple of things. It's important. Okay, look.
It's important, but also, let's be cool.
October 25th. We don't have that many more shows left for the election. So just accept this is going to be what it is until we get through an election here.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. Two things that I wanted to talk about on the kind of like political news side of it. This one's pretty big. 13 former Trump administration officials have signed an open letter backing up John Kelly, Trump's former general, criticism of Trump, saying that Trump regularly cited Adolf Hitler, saying that he wanted generals that were more like Hitler's generals and that he had some good ideas.
There are clips of this and there are quotes where he was like, oh yeah, you should be like Hitler's generals. They were completely loyal to him, completely loyal. And everybody was like, hey man, you know that they were planning to kill him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, completely loyal. First of all, what a weird, out of all the analogies, out of all the people to pick,
it's not a coincidence.
That's what I'm saying. Out of all the people to pick, for people who are like, hey, no, he's not racist or fascist or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, why is this the only guy in history he's obsessed with? Why does he not know anything else about history?
How interesting. Here's the thing. One, I don't think he knows much. But two, it's because he's a fascist. And we all have to be honest about it. And I think there's a very notable thing here. The Harris campaign has obviously been running with this, getting it out there. I think it's
Yeah.
incredibly important information that, like, I'm not seeing enough people talk about, which is also why I put it in here, because it's like, yeah, we know he's bad, and that can often get repetitive and drowned out. And it's like, guys, this is really, really, really fucking bad, because, too, these people will not be there during this second term if he gets elected
No.
to be against it.
Anybody who was dissenting in his first term is not going to be around.
And the kinds of people that are against this will not sign on this time. People can say, I didn't know once. I don't know how much you didn't know, but you might not have known, like, no, he literally loves Hitler, right?
It's all going to be people like the dude who started as like the gopher and then became like one of his like chiefs of staff and is now the dude on TikTok who runs the right-wing dating site. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
And he's got like he got thrown out of the government for having a huge gambling problem. They were like, this is a compromised asset. It's all going to be people like that.
Yes.
It's all going to be people like that.
Anybody who at this point is not aligned with his very intense drive for literal fascism in the most literal sense, not like, oh, we throw that word around, actual literal fascism, isn't in this time. And I've seen enough people arguing on TikTok during those debates where people are like, well, you're not voting for him, you're voting for all the other people around him. And like, if they want Republicans in all these other places, then they have to vote in a Republican. No.
That's actually not true.
Because nobody who isn't aligned with his bullshit this time around is coming in.
We've actually seen many, many times, not just in our lifetimes, but in recent history of a president of one party being voted in while the entire rest of the government leads another way.
Yeah.
You don't have to vote for a bad person.
No.
Why? Like, you don't have to vote for one horrible nightmare person to keep the rest of your ideals in play. Now, as I say this, I'm going to imagine that we can go to singles today. I'm going to speak specifically to leftists who say that Kamala Harris is that person for us. That is such a fucking lie, cop-out, garbage, weak-ass bullshit argument. It genuinely is. And I'm sorry to be like, I'm being very condescending about it.
No, at this point.
But the reason I'm being condescending about it is because, like, hey, people are saying, I won't vote for anybody. And I won't vote for anybody who will accept genocide. And of course, we're talking about Palestine right now. Hey, they all do. Here's the thing. They all do. So, and this is what I think is the problem with America being a two-party system and why and a problem with us not having ranked voting and things like this.
Yeah.
Americans we do not have the mindset where we understand that the idea with a candidate is to vote for the one that aligns with you the most, not the one that is perfect.
Right.
And then you make systemic changes slowly. And to anybody who says that we have not been making systemic changes, I would point you towards, laws that protect racial equality.
Yes.
I would protect you. I would point you towards no segregated public spaces.
Yes.
I would point you towards things like, well, currently we still have abortion. That's a thing.
In only part of the state, but women are dying in many, many places right now, actively, because they are not getting the care that they need.
But a few years back, it was pretty protected everywhere.
Correct.
And that's because we have been making progress. We have been making this progress. The problem is, number one, people want to see it right now. And I get that. We're only here for 100 years or so.
Yep.
I get it. But the problem is you're dealing with billions of people.
The big thing that I feel as somebody who none of these candidates represent me, okay? I am a Marxist. I am not represented by a political party, okay? To the people that say these are the same, there is no difference between those two things, are most likely people that have never experienced oppression at home and are able to instead leverage their entire identity and vote to be a single issue voter that votes for something that they believe in.
If you're a comfortable white middle class
correct
to upper class person in America, you can say these are both the same. Why can you say that? Because you are not having a lot of problems at home.
Correct.
You are not the person that needs help right now. But here's the thing. You also are the person that needs help right now because it means that you are ignoring huge systemic changes that are going to happen over the next few years. And I'm not just talking politically. I'm not talking about your vote here. I'm talking about the unprecedented consolidation of businesses. I'm talking about the unprecedented lack of regulation over business, over the environment, the intense amount of regulation over education and people's bodily autonomy.
Yes.
You are ignoring these things in favor of, and I'm not saying this to minimize it, over a foreign conflict that no candidate
is going to stop. Correct. If there was a candidate that could stop the genocide in Palestine, we'd be very in. I want to be very clear that that's not something that it's like, well, I wouldn't be worried about that. Yeah. But that's not reality. That's it. The only difference is that you have to live in reality. And you have to say, is my protest vote going to help anyone in Palestine? If truly you are a single issue voter, right? Really, truly, that is your one thing. And you're like, I don't care about reproductive rights. I don't care about racial equality. I don't care about the school system. I don't care about children. I don't care about taxes. I don't care about the economy. I don't care about my fucking job, okay? That's your genuine one issue. That's a big hill, and that's so fair, okay?
Yeah.
That is a valid fucking issue. That is massive. This is a huge fucking issue. However, are you doing anything to help?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Then you're not a single issue voter. You're fucking lazy.
If you're saying, where's the candidate that's going to fix this? I would say to you, hey, have you done anything to contact your local and state representatives to see if they can push for something like this?
Yeah.
Do you know who your local and state representatives are?
No.
What are you doing other than making TikToks saying not to vote? Like, I've seen this before. I've seen people rationalize and weaponize their own apathy. I straddle the generations between X, millennial, and Z.
Right.
I have watched 3 generations. I've watched the greatest minds of my generation.
Yeah.
Literally sit and watch cartoons and bitch about the state instead of doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Sitting and watching cartoons and bitching about the state is fun. It's not an activity.
It's not. And this election is so fucking important. This is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of this too is a big goddamn bummer and F you at this point to Madeline Pendleton. I'm somebody who has shouted out her content so many times.
Yep.
And I think that there is a complicated response coming back to that TikTok too, because people are now pulling up a lot of things because everybody wants to say, oh, I knew the whole time.
Madeline
right?
Pendleton is a financial advice TikToker mostly.
She's not a financial advice TikToker.
It's like financial and political, right?
No, she's just a communist TikToker. She makes personal TikToks. She has a podcast that is about politics.
Okay.
Primarily.
I mostly
and
get her financial stuff.
Okay. She occasionally talks about finance stuff. She talks about like being poor in Los Angeles, basically, her whole life. And she talks about running a small business and like running it with to the best of her ability, kind of like Marxist communist structure.
I think she was she was telling a lot of down-to-earth stories, giving a lot of down-to-earth practical advice about things, particularly about like living on a budget and how it's not your fault that you have to live on a budget, and here are the systemic things that are making you do this, but here's how you do it because you have to, because you live in the system.
And y'all know I'm opinionated as hell, and I've consumed a lot of her content because there's not a lot of like alternative communist TikTokers that I've really enjoyed. But so to say that, I know her content very well, and I know the ideals that she has spread previously very well. There's a lot of things that people are now bringing up to be weird.
Yeah.
Focus on the correct things where you actually have it right and you've actually seen the content you're referencing, because everybody's like, actually, she said North Korea is amazing. And it's like, no.
The big controversy here is that she put out a TikTok saying that she was offered a lot of money to promote the Democratic Party on TikTok.
And, well, it's that and that she said that she is not voting Democrat, that she is not voting Trump or she's not voting this year. She's voting third party, which is essentially throwing away your vote. She said she wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris because she is a single issue voter this year on Palestine. And she said that she has voted Democrat every year up to this point, and this is the first year that she's deciding to abstain from voting for the Democratic Party.
Wild that somebody like her, who makes a lot of content that speaks to all of the issues that are happening with the middle and lower classes, would all of a sudden, and I mean, I understand it's a genocide, but it's wild to forsake the people who you have been speaking to, and the person you are an advocate for, for a different group of people who will not be helped either way by your actions.
I say a great big fuck you to people who live in very liberal cities like Los Angeles, like we do, and like Madeline Pendleton does, who have talked about their very strong stance on being in favor of like reproductive rights, and who herself has spoken about having an abortion in the past and how important that access was for her. To act like both parties are the same because you live in a city that'll be the last to lose the right is particularly fucked up and offensive to me.
That's the thing.
I am also a person who lives in Los Angeles. I do not go any less hard on making sure that other people have the same rights I do, because also we're not going to pretend like liberal cities are safe for this when Trump has repeatedly brought up a nationwide abortion ban and then pretended he didn't. That would still hit you. This isn't a states fucking down to the states, let them decide kind of thing. It isn't. They're saying it is so that you have a false sense of security and feel some kind of control and power, when at the end of the day, it's going to be whatever he feels like enacting.
And that's the thing, is like when you live in one of these like quote unquote safe zones or blue states or whatever, it's so easy to, once again, it's weaponized apathy, right? You don't want to go vote. You don't want to deal with learning about all this stuff. And so you say, I'm protesting, right? Sure. That's part of it. Is like, and then when other people hear you, she has a pretty large platform. When other people hear you say things like, the Democratic Party wanted to pay me thousands and thousands of dollars, everybody who's talking about the Democratic Party, I'm paraphrasing, everybody who's talking about the Democratic Party is being paid. Like, when you say things like that, number one, all political parties try to pay people to
every election
to evangelize for them. Do I believe that should be legal? No, but all parties do it.
And it is.
And then you spread something like that without saying all parties do it, right?
Yes,
it was
of course.
very specifically.
No, it was the Democratic Party, and
very specifically
with the idea of invalidating other people's actual opinions on it, and specifically, how many Black creators are you invalidating on their support for Kamala Harris?
She wanted to win her argument, and so to win her argument on social media, she said the Democratic Party tried to pay me a lot of money, didn't say anything about what other parties are doing. And then to say, like, I care about this, and by abstaining from voting, I'm showing that I care about this. You're spreading that to everybody.
Yes.
And look, that's your opinion.
You're allowed to have
right.
it, but we don't have to like
you. You can spread it, but you are not thinking about what you are doing.
Yes.
You are not thinking about, you are worried way more about looking right and cool and good than you are about spreading actual information. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
We have somebody in chat saying being a single issue voter on Palestine is not throwing your vote out. The thing is, there is no vote for Palestine.
Yeah.
So it is in the American election. There is no vote in favor of Palestine. It doesn't exist right now.
Yeah.
I am telling you with absolute certainty that if there was a reality where we had a candidate that could win this election, that could stop the genocide in Palestine, obviously, but we exist in reality, and that's not real. It's just not real.
So because
I wish that it was.
Because neither candidate is going to do anything about it, you then need to look at which candidate is going to do the most good.
Yes.
And because listen, like I said in the beginning of this, I don't want to live in a two-party system. I don't. But it's going to take a lot of reform and a lot of systemic change to get out of that. And in order to get out of that, we are going to need to keep moving the system in that direction.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you need to think about which candidate is going to be more likely to listen to and support the ideas of state-level representatives who do want us to stop supporting the genocide, right? Which candidate is more likely to say, you're right, we should stop funneling so much American money towards this cause if representatives are saying that? Which one is less likely to allow that to happen? Which one is more likely to allow it to happen?
Unsilent Will said you cannot manifest a third-party future. You have to make steps in that direction. We have not made the necessary state level, city level, smaller government steps, not smaller as in making the government smaller, but I mean local government steps to get to that point. You cannot pretend that all of a sudden you can wave a magic wand by withholding your vote and think that the Democratic Party is going to change. It's just not a smart take on it, quite simply. And I'm very comfortable saying that because it is an uneducated take on how the government works. So to withhold your vote and think like, yeah, that'll fucking show them is just unrealistic and uneducated on how government works.
Yeah.
So with this, we also have to say, okay, so if Donald Trump is put into office this year, because withholding your vote from the Democratic Party is what that would do, right? We know cause and effect, okay? Effect is Donald Trump wins the election. Do you think that's good for Palestine, or do you think he will continue to supply? Has he said he will stop supplying weapons and money to Israel?
It's not just bad.
Absolutely not.
It's not just bad for Palestine. It's bad for Ukraine. It's bad for who he has said, like, hey, I'm all for giving Putin some of this Ukraine.
He loves Putin. So, like, I guess fuck everybody else. Like, hey, I want to show that I'm a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's so the vibe of it, of like, I want to show that I'm a good person in this single issue, so much so that I would let everybody die for it.
Yes.
Because nobody's being helped by you showing that you're like a moral superior in this setting. It's not going to happen at all. What Trump wants is a dictatorship. And there are 2 potential seats open on the Supreme Court during this presidency.
That's right.
So he
already got a couple of them.
If you decide, and no, Trump won before. That's not how it works. And again, you have no understanding of political history, clearly. Somebody who says like, well, if Trump wins, maybe they'll start doing something. No, they won't, because it's already happened. Like, it's it's such a silly, uneducated take.
Yeah, I want to speak directly to that. Maybe we'll mobilize and do something. And then there was somebody else that was like, you can't pressure somebody once they're in office. Number one, that's all politics is.
Yes.
All politics is other politicians pressuring each other once they're in office.
Yes.
Pressuring each other to follow the way that they want to go.
Yes.
We need to vote more progressive in at lower levels in order to push that up to higher levels of government. That's the way the government works. And then saying maybe liberals will mobilize. Mobilize in what way? This is the other thing. This is the other thing that I love. This is another like kind of condescending like couch warrior thing that people say where it's like, then they'll mobilize. Let me tell you something. There are 2 ways to change things. Number one is systemically, constantly and consistently through the change of the system. And the other way is violent revolution.
So which one do you think is going to happen if Trump takes office? Now, if Trump, who specifically wants a dictatorship, and he has repeatedly said that he wants to be a dictator, he has, as we started this story talking about, said that he thinks his government should be run more like Hitler's. Where do you think in there the cool action and mobilizing happens? I'm so curious. And I'm so curious what lovely effect you experienced in 2016 when all the Democrats and liberals mobilized. Because if that's the cause and effect, right?
Everybody mobilized.
Right?
And
we fixed everything then.
And the lawmakers and the majority, the sweeping majority that they had, elected some Supreme Court justices who have rolled back human rights a huge amount and want to do it more, have put through removed environmental protections, removed economic protections, strengthened states' ability to continue gerrymandering and destroying not just personal rights, but voting rights and the ability to participate in the system.
Yes.
All of this stuff is what happens when you vote in people because you're like, well, let's shake it up and maybe people will mobilize. No.
And then,
why don't you vote in the right people and also mobilize if you're so
Hey,
into mobilizing.
I love it. And if you're so into mobilizing and you're such a single issue voter and you're so thinking that like you are going to be the person who does something about Palestine, I'd love to know what efforts you're doing. I'd love to know what mutual aid you're a part of, what volunteering work you're doing, how much of your salary you're committing to it. I would love to know what other actions you're taking to help people then if your conscience is so intensely heavy with what's happening right now. I'd love to know what part of your life you're committing to doing something about
We're
it.
in the middle
Or are you getting a lovely little like good feeling in the same way that somebody only has to write down that they're going to work out today to get the dopamine of working out?
Yeah.
Is this just, well, I don't have to work out today. If I told people I was going to work out, I got the happy little brain hit. You know what I mean? Because that's what voting this year third party feels like to me. It feels like I don't have to actually do anything because I get to feel like I did my part by doing nothing.
Want to come to Western North Carolina with me in November? I have actually been calling people in North Carolina, Ohio, and Michigan and canvassing and making sure that people are signed up to vote.
Yep.
Seeing which way people are voting. Seeing why they're voting that way.
Yes.
I have been mobilizing. You want people to mobilize? I'm mobilized. Are you mobilized?
Are you mobilized? Are you doing something else? And are you comfortable feeling like if you get your happy little I did better, okay, I consciously couldn't do this, are you comfortable with the next generation, the children right now, being stuck with the 2 Supreme Court nominations, 4 Trump-appointed Supreme Court nominations because you needed to prove a point. So in the next 50 years, okay, because you decided to abstain, and conveniently everybody decides to abstain the year that there's a black woman running. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
That's obviously a very convenient thing. Everybody said, oh, I've voted Democrat up to this point, but this year suddenly it's a problem. I don't know. Check that maybe.
Hey,
check that in your heart and soul.
And by the way, this is not a call-in show where we're doing a one-on-one, but immediately changing the subject to the hurricane and aid for the hurricane just means that you don't want to listen and you don't want to do anything. What you're doing right now is you are having this attitude of when somebody brings up something you can do, or something they're doing, you immediately change to, but what about this thing that's happening? Are we talking about the genocide or are we talking about the hurricane? Are we talking about your single issue, or are there now 2 issues?
And is Trump going to fix that?
And what are you going to do? And based on how Trump handled how Trump handled FEMA before.
How Trump handled COVID, how Trump handled anything. This doesn't matter. You don't get any more attention. Changing the subject, you asked how I was involved in mutual aid about Palestine. And you knew that. Or your reading level isn't high enough to be here. Moving on, let's continue. The reason we were talking about this as well is Elon Musk is also being, only ever a slap on the wrist from the DOJ. Because paying people to vote is a crime. It's a crime, and he can and should go to prison for it because he has been running essentially a sweepstakes.
You're not allowed to give people anything in consideration for voting.
And he has given $4 million away to 4 people so far. So he is offering people the chance to win $1 million if they register to vote in a swing state specifically. Ain't that interesting? And obviously, if it's an Elon Musk dude, it's gonna be a fucking Republican. He has given away $1 million to 4 different people, which is so incredibly illegal.
It's the most illegal thing. And also, even if it wasn't illegal, how often does this guy actually pay out on things he says he's gonna pay out on?
Correct. And now he's getting away with this because he's labeling it as to sign a petition. And technically, you can pay people to sign a petition. But in order to sign the petition, you have to be a person who is registered to vote in a swing state, and you have to prove it to sign. Ain't that interesting?
Ain't that
that just the way? That's super fucking illegal. So I don't know, a thing to keep an eye out for. That's it. And Elon Musk doesn't ever actually pay the money he said he was going to. So don't even. I
want to move away from this.
Okay.
I want to move away from this.
All right.
Let's talk about some other stuff that is going on. I want to show you something that I find absolutely amazing, Saige.
Okay.
I want to talk about the animation studio that is making the movie Dynamic Duo.
Okay.
Okay, dynamic duo is James Gunn came out and was like, hey, y'all should know that we are making a movie called Dynamic Duo, and it is all about multiple Robins. It's about Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, and it's going to be told through animation, mixed media, and puppetry. And we all went,
What?
we all went, hey, Jimmy Guns? What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
What in your life are you talking about right now? But 2 clips from this studio have been released.
Okay.
I want to show you this first one here, which is Swaybox's reel. If we can pull this up.
Yeah. You on your laptop?
Yeah. So this is the reel of Swaybox animation.
Okay.
These are full-scale, human-sized puppets.
Human size.
Yeah. These are human-sized
Why?
sets, human-sized puppets. It's all shot with real, full-size camera equipment, crews, sets, things like that.
Uh-huh.
There's sometimes there's a person in a suit, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes the face is a little bit of CG, sometimes it's not.
Okay.
It's fucking wildly cool looking. The next thing I want to show you is their new technology that they've been working on, which they call Tink.
Okay. What's Tink?
Tink is their cool new motion technology. Take a look at this. This is them redoing some scenes from
I
the
saw
Iron
this.
Giant.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can move it? Let me see if I can.
No, I can't from here.
I'll do this.
Yeah, there you go.
Here you go. This is them recreating scenes from the Iron Giant. This is a live operated puppet mixed with CG. This is what the Robin movie is going to look like.
See, I saw this clip going around, but I didn't know the connection of this is what they were doing for Dynamic Duo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's bananas.
I am so in love with this. Here's some BTS photos from their first short film. Wow. So that was the guy riding the bike that we saw in the wide shot. There's a lot of these puppets are life-sized.
Yeah. That's absurd.
This is the kind of stuff that they do. And what they're going to be telling is they say that they're telling the story of 2 Robins, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, who are both orphans and come up together on the streets and decide to take 2 very different directions with their lives, is the way it's described.
Okay.
So we're now having a story of the Robins, and they know each other as kids.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a
fun.
Wildly cool idea.
Cassidy Weaver in the live studio audience said, Uncanny Valley to me. I do think it's Uncanny Valley.
A little
I
bit.
enjoy it.
A little
personally.
bit. But the more, when you looked at the bit in the reel where it was the two guys talking to each other, the 2 adult men, I think they looked very Pixar/puppet. I don't think they looked uncanny.
Yeah, that one was cuter.
Yeah, because they stylized the character a lot more,
Agreed.
and I imagine that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And I think this is when James Gunn put out that tweet describing the movie, I was like, who did you just hand the keys to?
Yeah.
And then I saw this and I was like, whoa.
I love these reels from the studio. When it comes to DC, I'm like, cool, big if true.
Big if true.
Big if true.
We're still waiting.
Big if this A, movie actually gets made, then B, if this movie gets released, and C, if it is any of the things they promised it was going to be.
It all hinges on Superman, right? It all hinges on Superman. It's as always, it reminded me a lot of something that I wish they had done more. Do you remember the movie version of Where the Wild Things Are?
Yeah.
Where they had people in suits, but then they had CG faces. I was just like, why aren't they mixing that stuff more? After that movie, I was like, please, more of this. And we are seeing more and more mixes of traditional practical VFX and CG now. You look at I mean, the latest Alien is not the best example. The latest Alien was it was weird. The CG and the
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, but also just there was something weird about the practical face suckers mixed with like face huggers mixed with other stuff. Some of it looked a little odd to me.
Only the like, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy.
Yeah, the guy.
That's the only thing that bothered me personally.
But also like, we see it on the
Love
Star
names,
Wars
Wiki
stuff,
guy.
like Disney, the Star Wars stuff. Like
Yeah.
even when things are puppets, they like touch it up a little bit to make it look a little bit more real.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot in that kind of stuff too, where it's like people are using the technology to swap out faces all the time on shit. There's good and bad examples on it.
Yes.
We saw a bad example in Avatar really intensely in the Avatar: The Last Airbender
Yes.
series. We saw a really bad example of an animated face on a human person.
Yes, we did.
We've been seeing some on Agatha that is like passable for me.
Yeah, it's not too noticeable in Agatha, but once again, I would say that that's because all Disney Plus shows are shot 2 stops too dark.
Yeah. It's not like I look at it and I'm like, I don't see this and think, whoa, that's a real person. But I am like, this isn't disruptive to me.
No,
You know?
not at all.
That's where it lands for me on that. And I haven't watched the newest episode of Agatha. Everybody knows spoilers.
Oh,
I've heard it's amazing. The last episode was fantastic. The last episode last week, I'm not saying anything about it, but last week I was like, this is the fucking show finally.
Agatha
last
rules.
week hit for me. Her monologue was fantastic. God, I love Catherine Hahn.
Somebody was like, I love the style, but why the Robins? Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I don't know.
Who knows how they're going to tell the story? Who knows how it's good? I think you can do a lot of like really fun stuff with that.
Sounds like a fun, good time.
I really do think the more loosening up we see from superhero stuff, the better, because we've got another 10 years where superhero stuff is probably going to be extremely dominant. And so the more they play around with it and evolve it and do different fun things with it, the happier I am. Because we don't want to see the same thing over and over again.
Cool.
You know?
I want to talk about, I'm only going to do half of this Roblox news.
Do only half of it.
I'm only doing half of it.
Okay.
Hey, y'all played that Dress to Impress?
Dress to Impress, the fashion competition on Roblox.com that is also a horror ARG.
I don't think it's Roblox.com.
It's
Roblox.
Roblox.net.
I think it's
You have to download Shockwave Flash,
got it. Okay.
and then you can play Roblox.com.
Yeah. Then you can play Roblox.com. Listen, this is a children's game. I'm not criticizing adults for playing it. I'm
No.
saying as a basis, Roblox is made for children.
Yeah.
I play lots of children's games.
Sure.
Totally fine. But recently, they added some Halloween costumes, which is awesome. So they can do, little fashion shows and Halloween costumes. You can compete in your costume.
Yeah.
Super cute. One of those costumes was a hot dog. And a hot dog costume with the bun, it's all pretty popular.
Yeah,
that's pretty
that's
standard. The thing is that people can edit and like recolor costumes a little bit. And they're having a problem where people won't stop dressing up as dicks in their hot dog costume. And they're finding, I don't know what the mermaid tail kind of thing of that is. I
Yeah,
don't know
what's
what,
the mermaid tail?
I don't know what the sell is there. I don't know how that's helping.
Quick question. Is my dick weird? Because I don't understand what the mermaid tail is. Hey, if anybody in chat is a doctor,
Yeah.
what's the mermaid tail
What's
and
the
should
mermaid
I have
tail?
one?
So people are wearing the hot dog costume and a pink beanie, and they're making dick costumes. They have said that the hot dog costume will be removed from the game for a bit due to safety reasons.
Sure.
It'll return with a certain color palette. You can only use a color palette for it. With that being said, temporarily you get to be a cupcake.
Okay.
In the meantime, you can be a cupcake.
Hey. Be a cupcake, everybody. In a world of hot dogs, be a cupcake. Gandhi said that.
Of penis costumes. Be a cupcake.
Be a cupcake.
In a world of dicks.
In a world.
Okay. We had Roblox in the title.
Yeah,
We had to deliver on Roblox.
We did it. A bit of Hollywood news.
Oh.
A little bit more Hollywood news.
Oh.
Good Omens, season 3. Here's the thing: we love a good Omens. We're not fans of Neil Gaiman. It's
Not one that.
Nope. Neil Gaiman did some things, but you may be wondering
What happens to Good Omens?
what's going to happen with Good Omens, and the answer is Good Omens season 3 will not involve him, and is basically going to be a single 90-minute movie now instead of a season.
He will not be involved in any way. They've been very clear about that. Now, it's interesting because Good Omens, I heard about it and I was bummed because I went, that's a bummer. I love Good Omens, right? But also, Good Omens was only ever supposed to be one season of thing.
Yeah, it was just that we loved it. We all loved it so much.
Yeah.
And they loved making it so much that they were like, we'll do a season 2. I don't know what the numbers were like on season 2 because once again, streaming platforms are quiet about that stuff.
Yeah.
But I would imagine after season 2, because a lot of the people that I knew that watched season 1 did not come back for season 2, and it's not because they didn't like it. It's just because I didn't
think about it. It was
streaming.
A complete story too.
Yeah. It's they did the book and I'm good. So a lot of people didn't come back for season 2. I wonder if it was going to get that full season anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's probably numbers are falling off and it probably makes sense to do one movie to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think they probably opened up something. I am somebody who watched season 1 and didn't come back for season 2 yet, and it's been on my, I'm going to get to that.
I'm going to get to it.
I'm going to get to that. But the thing is, you knew the start and end of Good Omen because it's a book, right? Like, you know what happens. So you watched season 1 and you felt complete because that was Good Omens. And as much as you love and want more, especially just because these actors are fantastic and incredible and having such a good time, there is a thing that like checked it off in my brain of like, and Good Omens is complete. And then when they were like season 2, everybody was like, whoa, no fucking way. That's awesome. And because it was marked off my to-do list, it was checked as completed. I simply haven't gotten back to the task.
Yeah. Kodoroku in the live studio audience is like Sandman's probably also going away. Sandman's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like Good Omen, like, okay, so Good Omens, it's Neil Gaiman, but it's also Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
And in terms of the TV show, you could say that it's also very much David Tennant and Michael Sheehan.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative effort at this point. But Sandman is very much Neil Gaiman presents Neil Gaiman's Sandman, featuring the stories of Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
And fuck.
Yeah.
I was such a Sandman is such a thing for me. You're a goth. Was it fundamental to you as well, or was it no?
It was one I missed.
No, you're lucky.
So I came to Sandman so much later that I'm like, oh yeah, Sandman was cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
But I didn't read Sandman as a kid.
Three things that like every 15-year-old should and should not be handed.
Yeah.
Is like Sandman, Catcher in the Rye, and Neon Genesis Evangelion.
That's a lot of your thing.
But like, yeah, I know, because I was handed all of them.
Yeah.
And they were very fundamental.
Sure.
But, you know, some people take the wrong lessons from them all, is what I'm saying. Death was huge for me when I was younger. Yeah, the depiction of death in Sandman is just like one of my favorite characters in all of fiction.
Yeah.
And
death was big for me as a teenager, but just kind of in like a conceptual
Yeah, just
way.
the conceptual death.
Yeah.
I still have like a full shelf. I have like everything Neil Gaiman's ever done. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I just look at it. Put it in a box with my copies of Annie Hall and Ender's Game. Like, what the fuck am I going to do with all this stuff?
Yeah.
And it's not like, is Gaiman why Dead Boy Detectives quickly canceled? I think Dead Boy did not get the support that it needed as well.
Because it was canceled before any of the stuff came out, I believe, about Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, it just didn't do it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but at least we're gonna get something to wrap it up. You know, I think about all the series that I love that never got the movie to wrap it up, and something that's very nice about the streaming era is more and more shows are getting that one final thing.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate this, even though, you know, it's probably not going to be enough to tie up everything.
Yeah.
I hope it does well. And fuck Neil Gaiman.
And also with you.
Hey, no, if Neil Gaiman asks, don't fuck Neil Gaiman. I didn't mean it the way.
Neil Gaiman doesn't ask.
Oh. Just don't fuck Neil Gaiman.
Correct. I think a fun place to end this, Anthony.
Yeah.
If you'll reference what I'm highlighting in the spreadsheet.
There is no spreadsheet.
What spreadsheet? I've never known a spreadsheet. I think this would be a fun place to end the show.
Absolutely.
I think we've had a tumultuous show today.
Oh, the ups and downs.
Oh, the places you will go.
I opened it with a weird energy, and I feel like it set the tone.
Yeah.
hey, everyone, I regret nothing.
All right. Listen.
I'm
Anthony,
listening.
you put in here the white people phrases tier list. This is somebody on Twitter, Sock Day in 3 days or Sock Tiger, made a white people phrases tier list.
It's so good. It's so good.
All right, let's take a look at it together.
Yes.
Okay? Now, there's been a lot of this discussion on TikTok as well of specifically people being like, hey, white people, instead of stealing AAVE, you have your own. Like, use your own vernacular.
Yeah.
Okay? You got some phrases. We have some phrases. We don't have to steal AAVE.
Let me tell you something. I had no idea that this was a trend on TikTok.
Yeah.
I have no context for
Yeah.
this. I was just like, this is hilarious. This is like this is a person of color that's just like, here are the things that y'all say that I like.
Yeah, here's some funny shit. Here's some funny shit that white people say. I got a creator. I wish I had it pulled up. But specifically, there's been a lot of black creators just being like, there are so many funny fucking white people phrases.
Yes.
And like, you guys really should go back to this.
I love them.
And I'm in.
I say some of them all the time. You know I'm an Oh My Stars and Garters person.
I know you are. You are very strongly an Oh My Stars and Garters person.
Let's take a look at some of these. We'll start with like the bottom tier, which is burnt, and that's excuse me. And I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like excuse me
Excuse me.
unless it's Jar Jar.
Squeeze. Yeah.
Unless it's Jar Jar.
Yeah.
That's not a white person saying. That's a Gungan saying.
Sure.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Undercooked is the next tier. We have what the flip.
What the flip is good.
What the flip, I believe, should be higher than undercooked.
What
I think
the
it should
flip
be a
is
higher
pretty
tier.
decent. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Should be in burnt, in my opinion.
It should be.
I
hate
think it should be in burnt.
the worst.
I think it's terrible.
The worst.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
He's right behind me, isn't he? Goes. I mean, I understand you can't use it all the time, which is why
but it does go crazy when you do.
Oh, yeah, when you. Oh my God.
When you get it.
Oh, a Robert Downey Jr. or a Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Or a Chris Hemsworth. Any Chris, really.
Yeah.
Just saying, he's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah. Continuing in undercooked. Hate to burst your bubble. No, I agree. That one's condescending and rude. I don't like it.
Yeah. Holy macaroni.
Bump that up.
Bump it up.
Bump that up.
Bump it up.
Put it up there. That's too good.
And the final one in undercooked is sweet giblets, which I have only heard once or twice because I have family in the South.
I didn't think that was a real phrase. I thought that was just a thing from Hannah Montana.
No, it's sweet giblets or giblets and gravy.
Is that real or is that just a Hannah Montana thing? Because I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait, they say niblets, I think, on Hannah Montana. What's his name? Her dad?
Stephen Montana.
Stephen Montana says it.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus says it. Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus say it in the show. I never really watched Hannah Montana, but I know that one.
One of the good ones. I love that.
Yeah, so the next tier is one of the good ones.
One of the good ones, which is also, let's be fair, it's a white person phrase and it should be burnt. You bet your sweet bippy I do. Not in use since the 70s.
Yeah. I've never heard someone actually use that.
Not in use since the 70s.
Yeah.
It was big on a television show called Laugh-In, which was like, it's where Goldie Hawn got her start.
Okay. The next one, I think that should be lower too, because I don't think anyone's using it. It is funny, and if somebody did, I'd be like, all right, that's actually kind of funny.
I like it phonetically, and so I understand why it's in the middle, but underused.
This next one, S tier to me. Chump.
Chump.
S tier, baby. That should be all the way up.
Whatever, chump.
That dude's such a fucking chump.
Chump.
Man, like, I really do feel like we're having a little bit of fun with calling people some of these because it's like fuck doesn't hit hard enough anymore. Like swearing doesn't hit hard enough anymore. Calling someone a fucking loser, calling someone a chump just does hit better.
Hey, if you want to watch an adult get the maddest at you they've ever gotten, simply call them a dummy.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody get so mad as when I call them a dummy.
I've brought back loser. I've put loser back in my vocabulary.
Loser's good.
I've really enjoyed it. I think there was a while that it wasn't it, but at this point being like, that guy is such a loser.
That guy's a loser.
That guy's a loser. Because I think it used to mean something different, right? Like I felt like it almost used to be like, oh, that's a poor person or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, that dude is just a loser.
Just a loser. The next one here
loser
is
behavior.
Timber.
Sure.
I replaced timber in my lexicon some years ago with Kobe.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that one's not ours.
No.
So that doesn't
That's
get on
not
the
ours.
list. Yeah,
But I feel like Kobe is the new version of Timber. If
Sure.
something's about to fall over, if something's about to like go wrong.
Hear me out. Here's one for us. Okay,
Yeah.
wait, ready? 4.
4. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
How about that? How about we work that
Bring
in?
back 4.
4.
The next one is wise guy. I love a wise guy. Okay, wise guy.
A real wise guy.
This guy, real wise guy. This guy.
Okay. Up next, we've got whippersnapper. I think that's just an old people phrase.
How many more years until I can call people whippersnapper?
You could start anytime you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Whippersnapper. How's it
Okay.
feel?
It's not great. Yeah.
Good.
It hurts a little.
The next one is picks up the phone and says yellow, like the color yellow.
Really popular. We do that.
I think one that needs to be added, particularly for white guys, is ahoy hoy. Have you ever heard that?
I have never, and I want you to know I'd block your phone number, dude.
Ahoy hoy.
I'd block your phone number.
Yeah, somebody's like, ahoy hoy, yes. Ahoy hoy. Penn Healy says, oh me, Akoto Roku, I also do that. Ahoy hoy is such a white guy thing.
I've never heard someone say that in my life. I'd hang up.
It's particularly a white guy who is at some point into Jimmy Buffett, or tiki culture, or
All
just
right.
general like geeky
Never
tiki-
heard of it
yeah.
in my life.
Oh God, ahoy hoy.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, we've got look what the cat dragged in.
Love a look what the cat dragged in.
Look what the cat dragged in. Up next is for Pete's sake.
Oh,
Bump that up.
love it for Pete's
I
sake.
also think for Pete's sake should be much higher.
Oh.
I'm cool with these others at these, okay? But for Pete's sake.
What the fuck is ahoy hoy? Ahoy hoy is what Alexander Graham Bell wanted people to answer the phone with. You know, hello was not like a word that existed. It became a word that existed.
I mean, hello existed, but it wasn't.
It wasn't
that
like a
phrase.
no.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a thing.
Huh. All right. Boom shakalaka. No, that's burnt.
That's burnt.
That's lowest tier.
Lowest tier. That's no. We don't use boom shakalaka anymore.
Well, that just happened.
I think that goes right with he's right behind me, isn't
It
he?
does. It's right. Yeah.
These
yeah.
are phrases particularly for canceled showrunners of vampire teenage girl TV shows.
Yeah, or being used ironically to reference that.
Yes.
You know? Hot Belgian waffles. I've never heard this. in
Never
my
heard
life.
that one.
Never heard it.
Never heard hot Belgian waffles, but I like it.
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
I think that's pretty good.
That's the
I
quintessential
think that's
one.
pretty fair for this tier.
Yeah.
And then Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah.
I love that.
A
I
lot-
love to switch up the letter though.
Yeah. Jesus H. Christ. Jesus H. Christ, a lot of people were in the replies to this suggesting things that had been left out.
Yeah.
And one of them was cheese and crackers.
Oh, cheese and crackers. That's not on here. I just
Cheese
thought it
and-
was going to be higher.
No,
Maybe
cheese
to
and
talk-
crackers isn't on
Cheese
here.
and crackers is very popular. I like to give Jesus another middle name
Yeah.
instead of just H. Christ. I like to say like Jesus Marie Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Jesus Ann.
Up in the next category, which is fantastically flavorless. Love this first one. Just gonna sneak right
God,
past
I say
you.
it all the time. I say it all the time. I say it all the time.
Just gonna sneak right past you.
I'm just gonna sneak right past you there.
Just right. I was in restaurants and on productions for too much of my life, so I
Yep.
don't do that anymore. So I just go behind, or hot points
Yeah.
if I'm carrying something
Points,
while I'm behind
points.
you. Yeah.
How about golly gosh gee? Now I would have said gee golly gosh.
Gee golly gosh.
I don't
rolls
think
more.
golly gosh gee I've heard. The G feels wrong.
golly gosh.
Gee golly yeah, gee golly gosh.
Gee
I don't
golly
know.
gosh or golly gosh jeepers.
Never heard that one either.
But yeah.
Okay.
The next one, quintessential. How do you like them apples? How do you like them apples? Ooh.
How do you like them apples?
Ooh.
Up
I
next-
just got her number.
Yeah.
How about them apples?
Up next, what in tarnation?
What in tarnation? Consarnate?
Yeah.
Consarnate?
Groovy.
Groovy, sure.
Sure.
Let's rock and roll. Oh, that's the white phrase.
Something a parent loves to say to a kid that they're trying to get in the car.
Hey, bud, let's rock and roll.
Yep.
Hey, bud, we got to get out of here. Let's
Has
rock
to
and
go
roll.
with the snap. Has to go with the snap.
Watch it, Einstein.
That's bad. I don't like it.
I don't like, but I do like Einstein. I put
Yeah.
Einstein the same place I put loser and dummy.
Yeah.
Einstein itself is good. Next one, frick.
Frick is great.
Frick is great.
I think we should really, really consider working Frick back in.
Next is crud. I love crud.
Love crud.
Ah, crud.
Ah, crud.
But I do think crud should be with crud.
Yeah. Crud.
Next one. Oh,
You in what army?
you in what army? Oh, you just fucking ran the playground with that one.
Yeah.
You in what army,
yeah?
buddy?
That's giving, if you like it so much, why don't you marry
Why
it?
don't you marry it?
Okay.
I don't think that one's on here.
I don't think that is.
That's a bummer.
Up next is nice try, pal.
That's another.
Nice try, pal.
That's another parent one.
I like it.
Yeah, just like no, but if I stay up later, I could get
Nice try,
Nice
pal.
try, pal.
Oh, brother. I can't read this without hearing the one from SpongeBob that's
Yeah.
also a TikTok sound that's, oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Yeah.
Fabulous, perfect, no notes.
Oh,
S-tier.
brother.
Oh, brother.
I should say that more. I actually like
Yeah.
that. The next one I fucking love. You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
This one gives
Never said by an intimidating person in their entire life.
No, this one gives blonde white conservative that like is singing along to a song that's about hating conservatives.
Or like
and doing this.
This is very specific, but this feels like something that my manager when I worked at a Kinko's would say.
Yeah.
I worked at a copy shop in high school, and I feel like he would have been like, well, you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
Grant.
Yeah, okay.
Calm down, Grant.
I'm going to give him a piece of my mind.
Do it. Give them a piece of your mind. White people, give them a piece of your mind.
I wish we would do a little less of
Do
that,
a little less
actually.
of it.
Up next, HE double hockey sticks.
Yep.
Strong.
Yep. It's not one I use.
Not one I've ever used. I think it's more regional.
But the next one, hang on, buckaroo.
I've heard buckaroo, but I don't feel like hang on buckaroo I would have thought of as a phrase together.
Yeah, it's more like, whoa, buckaroo. But like a hang on, buckaroo, I would change it to maybe it's a regional thing. Hang on, bucko. Bucko.
Bucko.
Bucko's the way you go with that.
You can say that again. That goes with he's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah. You could say that again, and then it freeze frames, and it's like,
Yeah.
Hold your horses.
Perfect.
Hold your horses. Perfect. No notes.
No notes. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Oh, when was the last time I said that?
You're barking up the wrong tree, pal.
When was?
You know you gotta throw a pal in there.
Oh, or a buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You're barking up the wrong tree that's Caucasian culture.
And they say that white people don't have culture. Now we're on to the final tier. This is the wonderfully unseasoned. That last one was fantastically flavorless. This is wonderfully unseasoned. This is S tier, okay?
These are the S tier white people sayings.
This is the final straw.
Now I say last straw. This is the last straw.
Yeah, my last straw.
I don't say final, but final, because final straw sounds a little bit more like a television villain.
It's the
Final straw. Like final is something you say when you're holding a gun to Bruce Willis's head in a movie.
Sure.
You know, like nobody says
Yeah.
final.
Yeah, I think the last straw.
The only time I use final is like when I'm optimistically naming a file for a project that I know will not be the last version of the file.
Yeah.
The next one is that tears it.
I've never heard anyone say that, but I like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've read it.
Tears
I've
it?
read it a number of times.
I haven't.
But that, oh, you know what? That tears it, I think, is like very 30s, 40s. I hear Cary Grant saying it in my head or Clark Gable. Oh, that tears it.
Okay, all right. Up next is radical. I don't like it. I'm not a
You're
fan
not
of
a radical?
I don't like radical.
What about a tubular or a gnarly?
My parents said radical.
Sure.
I think that's why.
Yeah.
I think I just realized it. My parents said radical. I don't like it.
I don't say radical genuinely. I think radical is something you say ironically when you're talking about something retro.
Yeah. Tubular was also on here. You referenced tubular.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Tubular?
feel like anybody's saying tubular, but maybe the goal is to bring it back. I feel like it's a little too hard to say. Tubular.
Tubular.
I don't know.
You ever heard that song, Tubular Bells?
Listen, Anthony. Check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself.
Now, one of my favorite people in my life, who was one of my producers on something. She's a DJ on the weekend. She's like
Great.
a news producer / hip hop and soul DJ.
Fantastic combo.
And we used to say, check yourself before you wreck yourself to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
As half joking, but half like, seriously, check yourself before
Yeah,
you wreck
yeah,
yourself. The riggedy or the wiggity wreck yourself, I can't I can't in good
I can't
conscience say
imagine
that.
saying it.
I can't in conscience say that.
I can, however, imagine saying, "Newsflash, buddy."
Newsflash, buddy. Hey, newsflash, buddy.
So good.
Oh,
Newsflash, buddy.
I love it. I love it. Next one is, you're really busting my balls here. This is one that is near and dear to my heart. As an Italian, as somebody who spent a decade in Brooklyn, as somebody who worked in literally an Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And on New York sets.
Yeah.
You're busting my ball. Hey, quit busting my balls here.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
This one I say all the time. Why I oughta.
You do say that.
I say it all the time.
It is, let me tell you something. Saige saying why I oughta. Anything that like a cartoon mouse rolling up its sleeve would say.
Why I oughta.
When Saige says it is great.
I love charging it up.
Yeah.
One of these right here. Why I oughta.
You gotta charge it up.
Why I oughta.
You gotta charge it up.
And you can't say oughta. You gotta have an oughta.
Yeah.
Why
Next one.
I oughta.
Next one I love. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Great.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Succinct. Lets everybody know you're in your villain era.
Yeah.
That's how you would say you were in your villain era if you were in a movie with Vivian Lee.
Right. The next is aw fiddlesticks.
Aw, fiddlesticks.
I don't know anyone who says this one, obviously. We know the phrase.
No, but it is top tier.
It's pretty good.
It is good. Oh, love this. Listen here, pal.
So good.
Hey, listen here,
I
pal.
feel like you're gonna be pointing, you're doing this to someone's chest.
Hey, all right, you listen here, pal.
Yeah. You gotta be poking somebody.
Oh,
for
I
it.
love a listen here, pal.
Yeah. Get a load of this guy.
Get a load of this guy.
S tier, correct. Get a load of this guy. Because you can say it positive or negative.
Yeah. This is another one that I think is particularly good from you because cartoon mouse energy.
Get a load of this guy.
Yeah. My mother is the patron saint of this next one. You're on thin ice, Buster. You're on thin ice, Buster. You're on thin ice, Buster, and the other one that's not on here, but I think should be, cool your jets.
Cool your jets, yeah.
Cool your jets is peak white person.
Yeah. Up next is take a chill pill. I'm actually not a fan of this one.
Take a chill pill?
Yeah, I don't like a chill pill.
It's because people probably say it to you a lot. Because you're high energy.
I beg your unbelievable fucking pardon?
Oh, is this news to you? Is it news to you that you're high energy?
No, people don't tell me to take a chill pill because I'm not in 1997.
Because if people told Saige to take a chill pill, she'd go like, why I oughta.
But also, it's not 1997.
No, nobody says it. This next one, also peak white person.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
Uh-oh, did you ever audition for a Spaghetti-O?
I don't think so.
You would have been a great Spaghetti-O kid.
Thank you.
And the next, the final one of the top tier, right on.
Yeah.
Hey, right on, man.
Yeah. Strong up there.
Right on.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
usually give a hell yeah more than I'll give a right on.
I say a hell yeah a lot. Yeah, for sure.
I give a hell yeah.
I'm just going to take a peek really quick at some of the replies here. Glaring emissions, cool your jets, cruising for a bruising.
Oh, I used to get that one a lot.
Cruising for a bruising, buddy.
Cruising for a bruising is a big one.
White people really snapped with newsflash, buddy.
Yeah.
Where does
Louise.
Jeez Louise stand?
Oh, this one's great. They just let anyone in here, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
somebody
they just
added some Brits.
Can I tell you? I said that to somebody as a joke once.
Yeah.
And this is not a goof and it's not a bit. She cried.
What? I don't trust you anymore.
No. This is real. This is real. And I like apologized profusely.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's a goof. It's a goof. I was shocked. I'm still every time I saw her for the next year and a half, I apologized. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I could not explain to her that they just let anyone in here
Is a phrase.
Yeah. It's a joke because she didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And like none of her friends had heard it before, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, oh no.
Oh no. Yeah.
So
you
this
probably never said
that one burned me once.
Okay. I love this person had tons of contributions. Said, please rate these. See in the funny papers.
Solid.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. You're dang skippy, I do.
That one is popular, but
You kiss your mother with that mouth?
Oh, S tier.
You kiss your mother with that mouth?
Oh, S tier.
That's good. Cheese and crackers.
Cheese and crackers.
That's rich.
That's
Shake
rich.
a leg.
Shake a leg.
The real meat and potatoes.
Oh, the meat and potatoes. Let's get down to meat and potatoes.
Faker than a $3 bill.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I love the creator of this thread said, holy shit, I'd overlooked a whole world of white people phrases. This is like uncovering a lost chapter in the Bible. These are golden.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Wow, this person has so many. Say your prayers.
Say your prayers.
Yeah.
You can add a buddy to the end of that one too. This person suggests one of Kaylee Bray's favorites. Bless your heart.
Oh, yeah. She loves to bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Yeah. It's very Southern. The whole 9 yards.
That's rich coming from you.
Oh, that's rich coming from you. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Not on my watch.
Now, somebody said, "Are you having a laugh?" And it was brought up here as well.
British.
And somebody was like, "British is going to be its own list."
Yeah.
Because
They did
British
say
has
that.
to be its own
They
list.
did say that. Kick the bucket.
Yep.
Strong.
Awesome
that one.
sauce.
Oh, no. Hate
I
it.
hate it, but it has to be rated because it is one.
It
It's
existed
a one.
for a time.
It's a one.
It existed for a time.
Where do we put epic?
I don't feel like maybe that one. Maybe we didn't make that one. We just said it too much.
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
that's so lame. It was us. That's so
Did we do
trash.
that?
It was us.
I don't
Epic.
know. I'm not
That's
sure.
epic.
Yeah.
And if you're a millennial, you can say epic bacon.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Cool beans. Cool beans is a very popular one.
G. Willikers,
Yeah.
a huge omission. Oh, and here comes trouble.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, oh, here comes trouble.
Yeah.
But the person who said here comes trouble also said, I guess they'll let anyone in here. It's a thing. People
It's
know
a thing.
it.
No, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's okay, bud. It's a thing. I promise.
You know the person that you know this story.
I don't know the story, but
You know this story.
we'll talk about it.
We'll
after
talk
the
about
show.
it off. We'll talk about it
That's
after the show.
it, because we got to wrap this up, everybody. We ran over talking about silly white people phrases. So thank you, everybody, so much who joined us today. What a roller coaster it has been. We appreciate you so much.
Dig your own grave. That's a good one too.
Yeah. Leave your favorites that were left off of this list or your favorites from the list in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Really enjoyed seeing them in chat. You've got some great ones.
Yeah, put them in the Discord too. You know, we have a Discord. People are in there all the time.
Yeah.
They're chatting about all kinds of things.
Great.
Just join the Discord.
Darren Plays Bad said, I don't love awesome sauce, but I love weak sauce.
Oh,
And I'll
weak
give you that.
sauce.
I'll give you that. That's a lot better than awesome sauce. Oh, there's so many bad ones. There's so many cringe ones in the chat. It's hurting. I love it.
Also, remember that we are here Mondays and Fridays. You can subscribe, of course, if you're watching on YouTube. You can also subscribe here if you're on Twitch. We'll take that money. We also have a Patreon where you get bonus content. You can hang out and try that. You can try it free for 7 days as well.
And since today is Friday, there will be a new bonus clip over there today.
Can you believe it? So much good stuff. We're going to go through and thank everybody who supported us directly during the show here in just a second. But first, Saige, what do you got going on?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Sage. Keep a lookout on the TTRPG channel that we have this week, because Twilight D&D is soon. How about you, Anthony?
Ooh. You can find me everywhere on the internet at A Carboni, except for Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, is mine. Give it back to me. Today, I'll be streaming one of my favorite horror games of all time. It's called D. If you've never seen it, it's ridiculous.
Ooh.
There's also a new episode of We Have Concerns at wehaveconcerns.com and a new episode of the official Marvel podcast, wherever you get podcasts. So go, please support me. I'm dying.
This is typically where we would ask Alex, but he's not here.
But he's dead to me.
We love Alex and we miss him very much.
I don't miss him at all, and I'm not going to cry about it.
That's all the things, probably. Thank you for spending your morning with us, and we'll see you on the Patreon or Monday.
Bye,
Bye,
BBs.
friends. Wait, there's an end button here.
Do it.
What end button is it?
Can you find it?
What if I did? Goodbye.